At Springdale High School, I joined the Engineering Academy where I took a drafting class. My favorite part of architecture and what interested me was the community aspect. I want to invest back into this Northwest Arkansas community to help kids that were in my same shoes. There's so many opportunities and I want to invest in so they know that they can get there. I am Taylor Hayden and I am a portrait of a Springdale graduate.
Hi, and welcome to Springdale Today. I'm your host, Mary Jordan. Today, we're taking some time to chat with counselors Katie Jenkins of Shaw Elementary School and Andrea George of George Junior High School. The counselors are joining us today with their therapy dogs, Kashi and Desi, who are serving staff and students in our schools to help make them even healthier places to work and learn. Ladies, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
I'd love to get to know you guys a little bit more before we get started. Katie, what can you share about yourself and your story?
Well, I started teaching in Springdale schools in 2007, so this is my 18th year in education, and it's my 10th year as a counselor. I started out in special education.
Oh, wow. And Andrea, what about yourself?
This is my 17th year in education. It's my 10th year in Springdale schools, and I've been a counselor for 14 years.
So why counseling?
For me, I've just always wanted to help support people, specifically young people, and help them advocate for themselves and advocate for them.
What about you, Katie?
Yeah, I have always cared a lot about making sure that the whole child is taken care of. And so we know that kids can't do their best in school if there are other needs not being met or if they're struggling socially or emotionally. And so I just really wanted to support all of that.
Well, what does modern counseling look like? I have a tendency to think of it as like you go down to the counselor when you have a problem and that's it. But there's a lot more to what you guys are doing in schools, right?
There's a lot more, but that's a good start. I think we know that students come to us every day with a variety of challenges, even students who haven't faced huge setbacks have things that they're navigating in adolescence. And so I think of it kind of the school counselor's office as a little bit like triage. What do you need? How can we help you meet that need? What other people do we need to involve and collaborate with? Do we need to refer you to something outside of the schools? And just working with families and students and teachers to make sure that we're taking care of the whole child.
Well, Andrea, how does therapy dogs or therapy animals factor into that?
I think a lot of students come to us and maybe they don't have the coping skills that maybe we wish that they would. And therapy dogs, therapy animals, they really help just create an environment of calm and safety for kids so that maybe we can figure out what their needs are to decide the next steps for them.
Well, and then how are Kashi and Desi good fits for your particular schools?
At Shaw, Kashi's kind of the main character. So I kind of take a second or a back seat. She's the one that they're waving at in the hallway. She's the one that they want to come see. In fact, I even had a first grader this year when I said, why do you think we have a school counselor? He said, in case Kashi's ever sick or gone, then you can help people calm down. So I am not offended by that, but we know that people connect to animals differently than they connect to other humans. And so sometimes when maybe I don't have the words or somebody just needs a safe place or an unbiased listener, Kashi's a really good fit.
And what about Desi as part of the George Junior High family?
I feel the same as Miss Jenkins. Desi, we always say, is the favorite staff member, and so I just tag along with her. And like you said, when I'm in the halls with the kids, it's Desi that they're excited to see, and then hey, Miss George, she just makes it a happier place.
Connect with the therapy dog first, and then connect with the counselor later. But it gives them some kids a kind of ease into that personal connection because it's easy to connect with a pet, with an animal. It also makes it feel a little bit more like a home environment, and that just creates more safety.
Can you guys help us understand what the difference between a therapy animal and a service animal is? I know there's an important distinction.
A service, the way I explain it to my elementary students is a service dog is doing specific tasks or jobs for their owner. So they're usually assigned to one person, and they're trained to help that person with day-to-day tasks, whether that's, a medical situation or, really whatever it could be. But a therapy dog is more just providing comfort and reassurance and safety.
And I don't think our district's limited it to dogs as well, right? Don't we have some other animals that are...
I think so.
I know there was a bunny or a rabbit at some point.
Yes.
Do you know of any others?
No, I don't know outside of the bunny.
So help us understand, what does a day of a therapy dog look like at our schools?
At the elementary level, I teach a couple classes a day, and so I take Kashi with me if we go into any classrooms. They know that they're all going to get a chance to pet her before we leave. She usually kind of wanders around the room, and she has a spot in every classroom that she's decided is her spot, and the kids love to see how long it takes her to go find that spot. It's usually like a comfy couch or a beanbag chair, and she'll get in that spot and knock all the pillows out, and the kids get a big kick out of it. But we go into a couple classrooms. She sleeps in my office when we're in the office. And waits for kids to come in, and any parent or teacher or student that comes in, she thinks they are there for her.
Well, I think if I could always be greeted like I was greeted by the dogs today when they came into the building, that every day would be a good one. Andrea, are there any areas or times where having Desi in the school has been particularly valuable for your students?
Yes, I think some of our students who are coming in new to the country and maybe there's a language barrier, and I know that they're dealing with some things they're not able to communicate with me like we would like to be able to process what they're going through. Desi can step in and give them, again, that sense of safety and comfort that I can't give them with words.
Katie, what about staff?
Well, I often hear staff members say, I just wish I could come down to the counselor's office and spend some time with Kashi. And I say, you can. So some will pop in, if they get a few minutes or on a lunch break, and just kind of take a minute to calm down and pet her. They love it when I'm in the hallway with her. They'll stop and pet her. But I think she's a source of support for everybody in the building.
That's just amazing. We are chatting today with Katie Jenkins of Shaw Elementary School and Andrea George of George Junior High School, who are joining us with their therapy dogs, Kashi and Desi, today. I'm thinking that there's got to be areas that a therapy dog can reach with a student in a way that maybe you can't right off the bat. Is there any walls that they kind of help break down for you?
Yeah, I think of students in particular who come to us very closed off for whatever reason. Maybe they're not trusting, maybe they don't feel safe. And Desi can get them to open up way faster than I can by myself. And so I think, she's been super helpful in that way.
What about social emotional learning? How does that come into play with the students as far as the dogs becoming something that's actually educational too?
Social skills are a huge focus in elementary school, and I've used Kashi as an example many times in demonstrating self-control, demonstrating cues that we give other people when we maybe don't like something that they're doing, or when we show that we do like something, because dogs give those signals really clearly because they can't use words. So we pay attention to body language and facial cues, and she's a great demonstrator of some of those things too.
And what about academics? How does that show up as far as the therapy dogs go?
I think a lot of what school counselors do are not always the things that you're going to directly say, oh, that happened, and so there's academic growth. But the whole purpose of our job is to eliminate barriers to academic growth, make sure that when kids are at school that they are in an emotional state where they can do their best and perform. And so we know that creating that safe space, creating that connection that students have to school, and then that motivation to want to do their best is all going to contribute to their academic success.
Andrea, can anybody bring a therapy animal into school?
No. Um, your dog or your animal that you're interested in having certified would have to go through training, specific training for therapy dogs. And then they would become certified. So they would pass some sort of assessment to become certified, and then they would need to be insured.
So if I had a certified dog, could I just drop him off at the school?
No. There's a process to get your dog approved to even be a therapy dog in the district.
And as I understand it, even somebody in the school who's working with the dog has to be certified. Is that correct?
You have to be certified as the handler, correct?
And about how long, Katie, does it take to get a dog into a place where they're ready to go into a school?
There are a few different agencies that do the training. Kashi went through about 1.5 years of training before bringing her into the school. I'm not sure about Desi.
It was a long process, probably 1 year.
Andrea, are there any preferred traits for therapy dogs? If someone was thinking it might be a good fit for their family pet, what might you have them consider?
I think just the way that low energy. No, I think that dogs who naturally give love and they're affectionate, and it sounds silly, but when they can read the room and see who needs them, then they are probably more geared to be a therapy dog. I think dogs who are aggressive at all or who are naturally nervous probably wouldn't be a good fit for a therapy dog.
As much as you teach the students how to, be safe around them and treat them the right way, there are going to be times that, a kid gets too close or maybe pulls a tail or something. And so I feel like I've seen a lot of tolerance in Kashi, so I know tolerance is important, but just a very kind of easygoing demeanor is best.
Are there differences in the way elementary school and junior high students may approach the animals?
I think it's a little bit different, honestly, in every school and the way they utilize their animals, which is why I thought it'd be great to have another example, because I know that, like, I keep Kashi on a leash, but I know that not every school does that with their dog. And so I think it's a little bit different between schools.
I do think, though, that the junior high kids respond to Desi probably very similarly to elementary kids, because they squeal and they get on the ground with her and they talk sweetly to her. And it's probably pretty similar.
Are there aspects of their personality as far as Desi and Kashi go that kind of shine through when they're working with students?
I think Desi's just very, very loving. Maybe too loving sometimes, where I'm like, hey, I think they're done with you for now. And so, she brings that for sure.
That's funny, because Kashi does the same thing. And if I have 2 chairs in my office, if you're sitting in one, she sits in the other. And if you stop petting her or scratching her, she'll paw at you to do it again. So it seems like she can't get quite enough attention. But I also see her like listening for maybe a yell or a loud noise in the hallway. If she hears somebody crying coming into my office, she is immediately on alert, like she knows that she's got a job to do in just a couple minutes.
That's amazing. How much are the dogs part of your homes and your families?
A lot. They are. I feel like when we walk through the doors of our home, they turn into pets. They're like normal dogs. I would say she's still sensitive to recognizing when my kids need her or need some comfort or attention. But when we take the vest off is when she knows she's not at work anymore. And so she becomes just a normal family pet.
Yes, same at our house. She's not quite as well behaved at home as she is at school. She likes to run off and do all the dog things.
What's that like, bringing a member of your household to work, so to speak?
It's a lot of responsibility, but it's also really sweet. Like, if I don't have her with me, I feel like a part of me isn't there. I feel like I should go get her or whatever it is. It's kind of an honor to get to bring her too.
Do either of you guys have any moments you can share with us where you saw students interacting with Desi or Kashi that were very telling for you? In keeping in mind student privacy, of course.
Mm-hmm. I can think of a few times where a student was highly stressed, and I could see it in their body. And I have one in particular that loves to just lay next to Kashi on the floor, and I can see his breathing regulate as he breathes with Kashi. And so just the presence of her being there and kind of matching that breathing calms him down. So that's one thing that stands out in my mind. I also have students that love to come in and read to her, and she'll sit and listen to books being read out loud to her.
I think it was just the other day, but we have a student in our self-contained room, and he is nonverbal, but he got with her in the hallway, and the teacher put his hand on Desi to pet her, and he just laughed and laughed, and it was the sweetest thing. And so I could see, without words or without, a lot happening, that she was really making him feel supported and happy.
What is a self-contained room?
Just students with maybe learning disabilities or other disabilities. Special needs room.
And we've talked about so much, and our friends are enjoying their time on set. But is there anything that I haven't thought to add to the conversation that you guys think is really relevant and important to share?
Well, bringing Desi has exceeded any benefits that I thought she would provide.
How so?
The students are so happy with her. The staff is so happy. But really, you said it, the little boy who couldn't self-regulate and then he would match her breathing. It really is shocking to me, and every time it happens, it's shocking to me. But these students who maybe they can't talk to me yet, but they are on the ground by her, maybe crying, maybe trying to regulate their breathing, but she calms them in a way that I can't yet. And so, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Katie, do you have anything to add?
I'm just really thankful that that our administration was open to the idea of us beginning to bring therapy dogs into the school. I know that that's a little bit of an out-of-the-box thought, and even more so 5, 6, 7 years ago when we first started doing it. But I've seen the benefit, and I love that it's grown. But I appreciate that they were open to that idea and to seeing something in a new way.
I'm grateful, too, because otherwise we wouldn't get to have this conversation today with you both. So thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We are so grateful that you joined us for this episode of Springdale today. We hope to chat with you more in the future of some of the incredible things happening in our school district.
Springdale Today is a production of Springdale Public Schools Communication Office.
The podcast is hosted by Mary Jordan and is produced and edited by Micah DeLacy.
Be sure to subscribe to Springdale Today for free on your favorite podcast platform.
And don't forget to follow Springdale Today on social media for episode updates and behind-the-scenes conversations.
Thank you for listening. We hope you'll join us in the future
as we continue to learn about the amazing stories happening in Springdale today.